Here's the situation. Your friend wants to be a plus-sized influencer, but they just had a health scare and they were told by their doctor to lose weight. They've refused. They've decided they are not going to do that. Yet now, all of a sudden, for some reason, this same friend has started giving you health and weight loss advice. Would that upset you? Because that's what we're talking about today. Am I the asshole for telling my friend to lose 30 pounds before giving me weight loss advice? This is a new series where we talk about food and habits plus behavior change science through Reddit stories. So let's get into it. Oh, also, I have to change a few words around in this story because YouTube might not like them, if you know what I mean. Some people will have no idea what I mean right there. Other people, please tell them in the comments. Otherwise, everything else about the story will stay the same. As the title says, I, 25 female, have struggled with my weight and overeating for years. I've been dieting since I was 18, always trying a calorie deficit in some way. Relatable. Usually this results in me overeating even worse once I inevitably quit, or I join the gym and then stop going after 2 to 4 weeks. I often lose 20 to 30 pounds and then regain it all or even more. I currently weigh 250 pounds at 5'5", and I finally decided I need to make a change sustainably instead of swapping back and forth between dieting and not dieting. I'm always so tempted to lose weight fast that I just jump down to 1,200 calories a day and try working out excessively or even fast and workout, and it has never yielded long-term results. Okay, we'll talk about this later, but I swear this is the biggest problem for everyone. This is the exact cycle I personally repeated for I cannot even tell you how many years. It's like the moment that you're finally uncomfortable enough to want to make a change, you're also so desperate to see results fast that you just go too far. I bet you that this is an entire profile of people who struggle to lose weight, the ones who go too hard too fast. I feel like it's an entire category. I recently signed up for a gym membership and I've been eating my maintenance calories every day. I know the advice is usually to eat in a deficit, but I've never stuck to the gym before and I wanted to try eating my maintenance and then slowly cutting back after I have a routine. I don't want to quit the gym. I can't afford a trainer, so this is just advice I got online and I want to try out. For 3 weeks now, it's been working great and I've been going to the gym regularly without quitting and without overeating snacks at night. Here's where I may be the asshole and everyone thinks I am. Okay, so quick recap to get our minds to catch up before we get into the drama. OP is overweight/obese. I looked it up and her BMI is 41, which means that she's class 3 obese, which was formerly known as morbidly obese. She has a history of yo-yo dieting. She's been trying to lose weight for a really long time. And right now she's trying something new and different in order to hopefully make a change that actually sticks around this time. To me, it all sounds very level-headed and reasonable, but let's see what the problem is. I invited my closest friends over for brunch and a yap session last weekend. They know that I'm trying to lose weight and they've been there for many of my failed attempts in the past. Anna, 27 female, Sam, 29 female, and Kara, 23 female. Sam is a bigger girl, but she's very proud of it. She wants to be a plus-sized influencer and weighs somewhere between 350 to 400 pounds by her own admission. However, recently she had a health scare related to her diet and was assigned a dietitian or a nutritionist, something like that, I don't remember which word, at her doctor's office to help her get her health under control. She doesn't want to lose weight, but she's been advised to, at the very least, to get healthier. I have no problem with whatever she wants to do, obviously, and support her either way. So her friend had a diet-related health scare at 29 years old. That is extremely young for something like that. And it's crazy because the solution is literally in the name of the problem. Diet-related health scare. As in, fix your diet and the problem goes away. But she's not willing at all to even consider making a change. To me, that is just so crazy. It's one thing if you try to make a change and you fail, right? Like, change is hard, but it is a whole other thing if you're like, nah, I'm not gonna bother with that. Also, it really just does not bode well for your future career as a plus size influencer if you're walking into it with a health scare already under your belt. That's like an issue you expect, 10 years down the line, not before you ever begin this career path. And let's be real, if you're a model of any type, you're probably not the healthiest person on planet Earth. And I'm sure there are skinny models all across the planet, maybe right now, being told by their doctor that, hey, they need to put on some weight for their health. And they're like, no, I'm a model. I'm not putting on any weight. But this is a scenario that we imagine happening years down the line when you've been working the job for a while, not before you've ever begun. No, it just doesn't make any sense. It's very stupid. I don't understand the mentality of that. Plus, like, you know, if you're trying to be a plus size influencer, there's a range. You can be on the lower side of that, still do the job, but probably not encounter any of the same health problems. You know what I mean? Anyway, I feel like Sam, 29 female, is going to have a hard time coming back from this one. So I made us all a little buffet style breakfast with fresh fruit, oatmeal, breakfast sandwiches, hard-boiled eggs, coffee, sausages, and a few other things. That's a lot of food. I'm assuming she's mostly just doing it to like have like a cute spread. When I was preparing my oatmeal, I added a scoop of chocolate caramel flavored protein powder to it. Sam looked between me and my oatmeal several times, showing obvious confusion and even staring at my stomach for a minute before looking back to the protein powder. What the Okay. I didn't want to assume anything, but then she reached for the protein powder jar and started reading the nutrition label. She sighed very loudly and dramatically, and then loudly told me I shouldn't be adding extra calories to my oatmeal if I want to lose weight, and it doesn't make sense to add 110 calories for only 22 grams of protein. What? If one of my friends did some shit like this about something that I was eating, ain't no way. Also, why is she acting like she's adding like chocolate sauce and gummy bears to her oatmeal? Like she was adding protein powder. I feel like it's just not possible for someone to do that unintentionally either. She had to want to get caught, right? Like you're not looking from your friend's stomach to a protein powder jar and back and forth like that and not hoping that you'll get caught. Especially with the loud, dramatic sigh. There's like some subtext here that's very obvious, maybe if you're a woman. That is some passive aggressive ass shit right there. I feel like there is no way that it's not. And then on top of this whole situation, she has the audacity to give out weight loss advice. With all due respect, if you had a health scare at 29 years old due to your diet and or weight and you are not willing to even try to make a change, why would you ever give someone else health advice? Like your doctors have you working with a nutritionist trying to get you to be healthy, but you are not willing to give it a shot. If that's you, then please don't give me health advice. Like you already decided that's not your thing. You're not into that. You hate that actually. Why are you giving your friends health advice? It just doesn't make any sense. See, I feel like people can do whatever they want. If you don't want to lose weight, you want to continue pursuing a path that is objectively going to make you unhealthier, I feel like it's your life and you get to make your own choices. But definitely don't decide to completely opt out from trying and then also give super condescending health and weight loss advice to your friends. Oh yeah, while looking at their stomach. I told her, I'm not trying to eat in a deficit this time. I'm just focusing on going to the gym and not overeating, so it makes sense for me. This seemed to really upset her, and she told me that because she understands nutrition, girl, okay, you heard me. GORL. She told me that because she understands nutrition that I should consider listening to her and that the oatmeal was enough on its own. This was when I got fed up and said, you know, Sam, I'll take your diet advice when you lose 30 pounds. Until then, let me try my own thing. She looked like she might slap me and then told me that's why I always fail my diets, because I don't listen to anyone. Well, that's not a reason that people fail diets, but okay, and who are you supposed to listen to? The person who is actively not listening to their doctor? Like, what are you talking about? I think the thing that's going on here is this girl is projecting hard onto her friend. Cara, and Anna were both really upset and scolded me right there, and the rest of the brunch was tense, with everyone leaving shortly after. Since then, I've received several texts and calls from them trying to get me to apologize to Sam. I know this isn't a hill I should die on, but every time I think about it, I get enraged at how condescending she was to me when I've been working so hard to get healthy, and she doesn't even care about it. They don't want to hang out with me again until I apologize, and I don't want to. They claim I'm fat shaming Sam and it was an unfair comment to make because I'm trying to lose weight and that's not her goal. So it's not fair or proper for me to comment on her weight. I mean, I definitely think it's rude to comment on someone's weight, and it's never good to like lose your cool and snap off on your friend, especially when in this situation, what Sam was doing was kind of passive aggressive and what OP did was full on aggressive. But at the same time, in my mind, All bets are off once you intentionally stare at someone's stomach in order to make them feel bad about their weight. To me, it seems like two types of aggression were there. Sam's was more passive aggressive, whereas OP's was more full-on aggressive. It's easier to get away with the first one than the second one, but they're both still you guys firing shots at each other. I told my boyfriend, and now he thinks I'm nasty for being mean to Sam too. I really thought I was right, but everyone is making me feel like I'm really wrong. So please be honest with me, Reddit. I can handle the truth, but I need to know if this is the hill I should die on. Am I the asshole? I hope the OP sees this video and the comment section that will undoubtedly take place underneath it, because I think here and now on this video, it's a pretty open and shut case with us right now. OP is not the asshole. This was not a one-sided thing. I really cannot get over the staring at someone's body in an overt way in an attempt to shame them. It's so unhinged, but it has that sort of plausible deniability to it where the person could just be like, I didn't do that. And I'm definitely a little bit impartial here because I had the same thing happen to me during my first serious relationship when I was at my highest weight ever and I had the most food problems ever. I mentioned probably a million times before, I had a food addiction. I had something I'm not allowed to say, but it involved overeating. And I was just, extremely obese since I was young. I was obese probably since I was like 6 or 7, maybe. Don't quote me on that exact age. I don't know when it started, but I know that I was a little kid. So my first boyfriend is this guy who was like fit. He would always go on runs through like the forest and stuff. He'd always be doing like random push-ups and whatnot. And his diet was overall mediocre, but if you looked at him, you would definitely say that he was fit. This man dated me, who was at the time a very obese person, okay, for almost 5 years, but hated obese people. Absolutely hated them. But rather than being a normal person and just not dating someone you're not attracted to, he would do a lot of psychological stuff to me intended to make me feel bad without having to say much out loud. He would also say stuff out loud, but his favorite method was just to fuck with me mentally. And the worst thing he would do is he would stare at my stomach and make sure that I saw him. Specifically my lower stomach, which he knew I was extremely self-conscious about. He would literally stare at it until I saw him doing it. And at the time, I didn't really have the balls to ask him if that's what he was doing. I would just feel the shame of the whole situation just like wash over me. And the outcome was, rather than being mad at him, I would just feel really bad about myself. People like this, they know what they're doing. You don't look at someone's stomach for a prolonged period of time without being aware of how that might make someone feel. Would you openly stare at someone's boobs or their bulge without thinking that they might catch you doing it? No, you would not, because it would be extremely weird. Especially because Sam is also overweight, so she knows exactly what that would feel like. But in this case, the other friends didn't notice all that extra stuff going on there. So OP got in trouble while Sam got to play the victim. And obviously I'm extremely biased here, but that's my view of the situation. And I don't know about you guys, but my blood would be boiling. Okay, this is a scene. Let's replay it. You invite your friends over to a cute brunch. During the brunch, you're trying to stay healthy. You scoop protein into your oatmeal. You're trying to meet your protein goals and you want to stay satiated. You think you're doing great. But then you hear something, your friend sighing loudly. You don't need that in there. I know nutrition, okay? Listen to me. Now, I like to be in control of my emotions. I don't like to be reactive, but internally, I would definitely be extremely annoyed. And that's basically how the commenters felt, because I have not seen them this unanimously fired up and sassy since I started making these videos, aka 3 weeks ago. Well, except for the one solitary person who was on Sam's side, but we'll get to them in a second. No, you are not the asshole. Your friend spent 10 minutes with a nutritionist and now she thinks she's an expert. Not the asshole. Unless she's a nutritionist, she needs to shut the f up. She understands nutrition? She obviously doesn't. She can't get her own weight under control and she wants to give you advice, and your other friends are okay with her being a condescending to you, but you can't give it back? Oh, hell no. Even if Sam was a nutritionist, commenting on the host's food choices in a derogatory way at what was supposed to be a fun brunch is crass, mean, and poorly timed. If the friendship is important, you could suggest she apologize for commenting on your food choices, and then you would concede that in response to being hurt by her, your comment may have been a bit reactive. Agreed. Exactly. It sounds like OP would not have been okay to comment on Sam's food choices, but Sam thinks it's okay to comment on hers. Not the asshole. Tell that to lose 200 pounds before she has room to talk. That's not healthy in any way. Jesus. Not to mention adding protein to oatmeal is a great idea. 110 calories for 22 grams is a great macro comparison. Eating a higher protein diet with a slight deficit combined with weight training is the best way to burn fat and gain muscle. You should also never comment on someone else's food/diet unless they specifically ask. End of story. The people have spoken and they are mad. But this person brings up a really good point. She said, eating a higher protein diet with a slight deficit combined with weight training is the best way to burn fat and gain muscle. There was actually a really interesting Huberman Lab episode talking about recomping, which is what this is. So I'm going to play a few of the clips here that might be useful to some people who are looking to do something like this.
Is it possible to, quote unquote, gain muscle while at the same time losing fat?
Yes.
Great. That will be reassuring to people.
Yes.
Does it require a caloric deficit?
This is the weird part. No, this phenomenon, which we didn't necessarily think was possible like 10 years ago. You know, we thought, okay, you need a caloric surplus to gain muscle, and you need a caloric deficit to lose fat. The common thread amongst these recomposition studies was that protein was very high. Protein was somewhere between 1 gram to 1.5 grams per pound of body weight. There's a series of studies done by Joey Antonio and colleagues where they fed the subjects 400 to 800 calories above and beyond their habitual intakes just in protein. And either recomposition happened or no significant change in body composition happened.
Were they training?
They were training. They were resistance training. And
because I think for a lot of people, depending what your goals are, this could be the way. This is definitely one of the healthiest ways you could possibly go about it. Now, depending on how much weight someone has to lose, recomping might not be the best strategy, but OP didn't even say she was trying to recomp. Just the recomp effects could be a benefit if she does it correctly. She really just said she was trying to lock in a routine with the two biggest behaviors she was trying to change: overeating and going to the gym consistently. And I think behaviorally, that's a great strategy. I personally had to tackle my overeating before I could really lose weight and keep it off at all. And then sticking with the gym, the studies that track people who successfully lose weight and keep it off all show that people who keep it off stick with the gym long term. So that's a behavior that you want to create and stick with regardless of whether or not you're successfully on a diet. So for Sam to say anything to OP at all when she's trying something that's both very healthy and behaviorally smart is just dumb. And like I said, most commenters agreed with that, except one. Comment from Ocean Journey. It appears you are not able to hear different opinions from other people. Sam shared her opinion. Your friends shared their opinions. Your boyfriend has shared his opinion. You have dismissed all of them. You and Sam are different people who have different perspectives based on your own life experiences. Stop expecting everyone to think and feel like you. Sam has a different perspective than you based on the fact that she is now working with a nutritionist, someone who actually knows his shit. She shared what she has learned. You read something online and now you think you know more than Sam and everyone else. You personally attacked Sam. You're the asshole. You should listen to your friends. Apologize for being unnecessarily rude. Then perhaps y'all should agree to not talk about your weight loss/health journeys anymore. Clearly, you both have some strong feelings about that. If you start getting heated, then use a code word or something to end the conversation. -3 downvotes. Like I said, the moment that Sam started doing the Kill Bill flash between the protein powder and OP's stomach, it became more than her having a different opinion. Had that not happened, it would be different. She would just be clueless, but that's not what happened. But of course, Ocean Journey is entitled to their opinion. However, they could not let it go. Another person said, not the asshole. Sam offered you unsolicited criticism. While your comment was harsh, I don't think it was entirely unfair. It might be mean, but I wouldn't call you nasty. Your boyfriend is out of line for that. The thing Sam doesn't understand yet is that a healthy diet looks different for every person. Sure, there are some general recommendations, but there will always be some people who love protein powder and others who despise it. There will always be people who need 3 meals in stacks, and there will be people who hate having more than 2 meals in a day. I agree with your approach. It's better to work on tackling overeating before you move on to losing weight. Totally agree. You really have to find what works for you. The thing that allows you to lock in and lose weight is probably not going to be the same thing that allowed me to lock in and lose weight. It's different for everyone. It's trial and error and trying on different strategies, which is exactly what OP is doing. The worst thing you can do is just do the same thing over and over and over again and not make any changes. That is the worst. Next comment, Sam also fails to understand that she doesn't actually walk on water. Ocean Journey 1234. Sam had a different opinion about adding calories to oatmeal. That's hardly a criticism of OP. Negative 52 downvotes. Next commenter starts off by quoting OP saying, and she told me that because she understands nutrition that I should consider listening to her and that the oatmeal was enough on its own. This is Sam saying that she's right and OP is eating too much. No, OP already told her that she doesn't want a deficit and is fine with the extra calories. Sam should have left it alone. I also think if you know a friend is struggling with overeating, it's insensitive to be talking to them like this to begin with. Ocean Journey 1234. Sam is working on improving her diet, not losing weight, with a nutritionist and is on a very different path. She shared her opinion from her perspective. OP was not harmed in any way by Sam's comment. It seems like the appropriate response would have been, I'm glad to hear you like your nutritionist. I'm good with what I'm doing right now, but I would love to hear what other things you are doing with your healthy diet. Yeah, but what if I don't want to hear what you're doing with your healthy diet? Because you clearly don't know what you're saying and your diet can't possibly be healthy if it's helping you maintain a 400-pound weight. Lose weight before you get to have an opinion is kind of bullshit. How would a bunch of strangers know better than the people who are actually there? OP's friends have already expressed that OP's comment was rude. Maybe she should listen. Negative 45 downvotes. Another commenter, if someone doesn't want it, no one should give nutrition advice to someone else. And Sam is very morbidly obese and thinks eating better but staying the same weight is healthy. And Ocean Journey just keeps going. If someone at the table has been recently diagnosed with high blood pressure, who is going to be personally offended if they mention something about adding salt to food? That's a thing for them. Both of these people are on very different paths in their lives. Friends share stuff and talk about their things. Sam had some thoughts about oatmeal. Who cares? She's allowed to have her own thoughts and feelings. She doesn't have to lose weight to have an opinion about food. That's ridiculous. OP doesn't have to take advice from a person who she feels doesn't have a clue about what she's talking about, but there's no reason to personally attack her friend. Negative 30 downvotes. Bro, did you read the post? Everything was intended to make OP feel small. She's just mad it didn't work. I know you see yourself in Sam and that's why you need to protect her, but you're both wrong and weird people that need to shut their mouths. Ocean Journey. Since we're assuming, I will assume you see yourself in OP, and that's why you think it's perfectly appropriate to personally attack people who have a different opinion than you. Other commenter, and it doesn't bother me as much as it bothers you. Guess there's some truth to what I said. LOL. Okay, I think we get the consensus here. Ocean Journey, wrong. OP, fine. Sam, also wrong. Yeah. At this point, the commenters start switching their focus from Sam to the friend group overall. Because if everyone online unanimously sees this as Sam's problem, yet OP's 3 friends and her boyfriend are not on her side at all, then what is really going on here? Well, either OP totally hallucinated Sam being condescending, which is completely possible. Maybe Sam didn't do the Kill Bill thing, and OP was truly just being unnecessarily defensive. Maybe OP really is an asshole type person. But people in the comments began to think that maybe what was happening is that OP's friends actually just didn't want her to succeed at all. Comment, not the asshole, but you did explain, and she continued. How do your friends not see that? They saw it as me telling Sam she needs to lose 30 pounds. I meant she needs to try to lose weight in general before giving me weight loss advice. That's how I interpret it. I didn't see it as her saying, you're fat, lose weight. I thought she was saying, try and lose weight before you talk. I believe that was the miscommunication after reading the comments. I haven't texted everyone yet. I want to be sensitive because everyone in my friend group is in the 200 to 400 pound range, and I don't want to make it worse. Okay, suddenly it actually makes so much more sense. OP really said something that the entire table was offended by, which is fair enough. They didn't see the situation, they didn't see the sneaky subtext, so they took it personally. Fair enough. The only thing I wonder about here is if you're all overweight, shouldn't it be easier to talk about this stuff like as a friend group? I had one overweight friend growing up and her and I had such a great bond specifically about being fat. We could relate on a level that I couldn't relate to anyone else with because we were living a different life than other people. Thank God we had each other, because being obese in high school and university is extremely rough. You are simply just not living the same life that other girls your age are living. It's just not. So to me, it is so weird that this friend group is so closed off about a problem that they all share. Now, obviously we know nothing about the situation, but to me, that's really bad. If you can't talk about something like your weight with your closest friends who also share that problem, to me, that is a red flag that everyone in your group is not really being honest with themselves about where they're at. Like, this is a thing that definitely majorly impacts your day-to-day life. You have to be able to talk about it with your closest friends. And if you can't, it's just kind of strange. Comment, have you considered that they might not want you to succeed? It's not uncommon for a friend group to turn on the person who is losing weight / cutting back alcohol / getting their finances in order, etc. Either way, not the asshole. You weren't fat shaming her at all. Another commenter, I wonder if this friend group is part of why you've struggled before when starting to put effort towards losing weight. It's sad that this is so true. People do not want you to outpace them in life. It hurts the most when someone who's in the same position as you, a peer, changes their lives. I did that whole video on that exact scenario happening in 1,000 Pound Best Friends. Vanessa was absolutely crushing it, and then all of a sudden her two best friends started giving her the side eye for the dumbest reasons. But anyway, I hope you guys enjoyed today's video, although I feel like today's video was like 99% drama and 1% helpful. I will correct that ratio in the future and it will not be that low again. Anyway, I hope you guys enjoyed this video and I will see you in the next one. He's dreaming. He usually only does it for a few minutes.